building stood tall and imposing, its windows reflecting the glint of the dim streetlights in the pouring rain. Mark, a diligent employee, found himself working late into the night, surrounded by the eerie silence broken only by the rhythmic patter of raindrops on the window panes. As the clock ticked past midnight, he couldn't shake off the unsettling feeling that he was not alone. The fluorescent lights flickered intermittently, casting long shadows that danced eerily across the deserted cubicles. Mark's fingers danced over the keyboard, but a growing sense of unease gnawed at him. He peered into the darkness outside, trying to discern shapes in the shadows, but the rain distorted his view, turning the world into a murky sea of uncertainty. Suddenly, the office phone rang, shattering the silence. Mark's heart skipped a beat as he hesitantly picked up the receiver. A chilling voice whispered through the static, sending shivers down his spine. "Leave now," it urged, the words barely audible over the relentless rain. Mark's mind raced, questioning whether it was a prank or something more sinister. Ignoring the warning, he resumed his work, attempting to bury the unease. The office seemed to creak and moan with the weight of the storm outside, amplifying the isolation within. As Mark delved deeper into his tasks, strange occurrences unfolded around him. The flickering lights intensified, and the air grew heavy with an unexplainable presence. In the midst of the ominous atmosphere, Mark heard footsteps echoing through the empty halls. Each step seemed deliberate, echoing a haunting rhythm that resonated with the beat of his frantic heart. He cautiously ventured into the dimly lit corridor, his footsteps mingling with the mysterious echoes. The shadows seemed to come alive, morphing into indistinct figures that danced at the edge of his peripheral vision. A sudden gust of wind extinguished the flickering lights, plunging the corridor into complete darkness. Panic seized Mark as he fumbled for his phone, the feeble glow revealing the outlines of twisted, contorted shapes lurking in the shadows. Whispers echoed, converging into an unsettling chorus that echoed through the empty halls. As Mark stumbled back to his desk, the office environment transformed into a nightmarish tableau. The rain outside intensified, drumming against the windows like 1,000 phantom fingers. Mark's computer screen flickered, displaying distorted images that seemed to reach out from the depths of his subconscious. Terrified, Mark gathered his belongings, determined to escape the oppressive grip of the supernatural. The echoing footsteps followed him down the deserted halls, and the rain outside seemed to weep in unison with the spectral presence that haunted the office. The clock struck 3 hours whilst a.m. as Mark fled into the stormy night, leaving behind the chilling memories of a nightmarish workday. Late at night, the dimly lit office was a stark contrast to the bustling energy it held during the day. Jacob, an employee dedicated to his work, found himself alone in the eerily silent building. The clock ticked away, echoing through the empty halls, as he tirelessly focused on the task at hand. Little did he know, this ordinary night would soon turn into a terrifying ordeal. As the clock neared midnight, a shadowy figure slinked through the corridors, masked and clad in dark clothing. The silence was shattered by the sudden sound of shattered glass as the intruder broke into the building. Panic set in for Jacob as he realized he was not alone. Fear gripped his heart as he hastily gathered his thoughts and sought refuge in a secluded corner of his office. Unbeknownst to Jacob, a group of robbers had meticulously planned this late-night heist, targeting the company's financial assets and confidential documents. Armed and determined, they moved with calculated precision, unaware that Jacob was still present. In the shadows, Jacob frantically pondered his options. With a racing heart, he decided to confront the intruders, recognizing the potential danger of remaining passive. He carefully navigated the maze of cubicles, inching closer to the perpetrators. His steps were muffled, but anxiety weighed heavy in the air. As Jacob turned a corner, he witnessed the masked figures ransacking the office, grabbing valuable items and stuffing them into their bags. The glint of moonlight revealed the desperation in their eyes, fueling Jacob's determination to stop them. Summoning his courage, Jacob emerged from the darkness, his voice shaking but resolute. "Stop right there! What do you think you're doing?" The intruders, caught off guard by his unexpected presence, momentarily froze. In that tense moment, Jacob's instincts took over, and he lunged at the nearest assailant, engaging in a desperate struggle. Adrenaline surged through Jacob as he fought to protect his workplace from these criminals. The scuffle intensified, with the intruders realizing they were up against an unexpectedly fierce opponent. In the chaos, Jacob managed to grab his phone and discreetly dial the emergency number, providing the authorities with crucial information about the ongoing crime. The struggle reached a climax, just as the police sirens wailed in the distance. Realizing the imminent arrival of law enforcement, the robbers attempted to flee, but Jacob's resilience had bought precious time. With a mix of relief and fear, he stayed hidden as the police stormed the building, apprehending the criminals and restoring order. As the police secured the area, Jacob emerged from the shadows, his heart still pounding. His ordinary work night had transformed into a harrowing experience, but his courage had thwarted the criminals' plans. The company's assets and sensitive documents remained intact, thanks to one employee's unexpected bravery in the face of danger. In the aftermath, Jacob became a reluctant hero, celebrated for his valor. The once silent office now echoed with a mix of gratitude and relief, a testament to the triumph of one man against the forces of darkness that had sought to disrupt the tranquility of a late-night workspace. In the quiet town of Cresthaven, where the streets emptied as the sun dipped below the horizon, Emily found herself alone in the dimly lit pharmacy. As the night pharmacist, she was accustomed to the eerie silence that enveloped the store after hours. However, this particular night held an ominous air that sent shivers down her spine. The fluorescent lights flickered intermittently, casting unsettling shadows on the shelves of medicine. Emily tried to shake off her unease as she organized pill bottles and restocked shelves, the soft hum of the refrigerators serving as a monotonous backdrop. The rhythmic ticking of the clock echoed through the empty aisles, amplifying the sense of isolation. As the witching hour approached, a distant sound caught Emily's attention. Faint footsteps echoed through the empty store, causing her heart to quicken its pace. She strained her ears, attempting to dismiss the noise as mere imagination, but the steps drew nearer. Anxiety gripped her as she clutched the pharmacy counter, her eyes scanning the darkened corners. A sudden gust of wind rattled the front door, sending a chill down Emily's spine. She glanced toward the entrance, half expecting a specter to materialize from the shadows. The eerie creak of the door hinge intensified her fear, and she reluctantly made her way to investigate. The street outside lay cloaked in an impenetrable darkness, the only illumination emanating from the flickering street lamp. As Emily hesitated near the entrance, a soft whisper reached her ears. "Help me," it pleaded, barely audible above the howling wind. She strained to locate the source, her eyes darting nervously around the store. The shelves seemed to close in on her, their contents morphing into sinister shapes in the low light. Reluctantly, Emily ventured deeper into the store, guided by the mysterious whispers that seemed to dance on the edge of her consciousness. The medicine aisle loomed like a labyrinth, its shelves forming an intricate maze that disoriented her senses. She stumbled upon an old pharmacy door, long forgotten and hidden behind stacks of boxes. With trepidation, Emily pushed the door open, revealing a small, forgotten room filled with dusty pharmaceutical supplies. The air inside felt heavy with an unsettling energy. As she explored the abandoned chamber, a ghostly figure materialized before her, its eyes pleading for release from some unseen torment. The spectral apparition extended a translucent hand, causing Emily's breath to catch in her throat. The room's temperature plummeted, and a haunting melody filled the air, resonating with an otherworldly sorrow. Overwhelmed by fear, Emily stumbled backward, her heart pounding in her chest. In a desperate attempt to escape the spectral encounter, Emily retraced her steps through the labyrinthine shelves. The whispers grew louder, echoing in her mind like a haunting refrain. As she reached the pharmacy counter, the ghostly figure vanished, leaving only a lingering chill in the air. Morning eventually arrived, dispelling the night's terrors. Cresthaven returned to its usual calm, and Emily found herself questioning the harrowing events of the night. Was it a figment of her imagination, or had she truly crossed paths with the supernatural? The pharmacy, now bathed in the gentle light of day, held no traces of the spectral encounter, leaving Emily to grapple with the unsettling mystery that unfolded during that terrifying night. The old school building stood silently under the cover of a stormy night, rain pelting against its windows like ghostly whispers. Mr. Jenkins, the school janitor, shuffled his way through the dimly lit hallways, his mop echoing against the tiled floors. Most nights were routine for him, but this particular evening was different. As the clock struck midnight, strange events unfolded. Faint whispers echoed through the empty corridors, and the flickering lights cast eerie shadows on the walls. Mr. Jenkins felt a chill crawl up his spine as he moved from one empty classroom to another. Unexplained creaks and distant murmurs filled the air, making his heart race. His nerves reached a breaking point when he heard the faint sound of footsteps behind him. Whirling around, he found nothing but the empty hallway and the persistent drip of rainwater from a leaky roof. The air hung heavy with an unsettling atmosphere that sent shivers down his spine. With each passing moment, the strange occurrences intensified. Doors creaked open and closed on their own, and shadows danced in the corners of his vision. The janitor couldn't shake the feeling of being watched, and his anxiety grew with each step. He wondered if the old school had secrets hidden within its walls. As the clock neared the early hours of the morning, Mr. Jenkins decided he couldn't endure the haunting events any longer. He hastily finished his duties and retreated to a corner of the janitor's closet, hoping to escape the unsettling night. Sleep eluded him, and the storm outside only added to the surreal atmosphere. As dawn broke, the rain began to subside, and the first light of day peeked through the windows. Mr. Jenkins emerged from his makeshift sanctuary, weary-eyed and pale. As he stepped into the hallway, he encountered a fellow custodian, Mrs. Patterson, who had just arrived for her morning shift. Concern etched across her face. Mrs. Patterson approached Mr. Jenkins and asked, "You look like you've seen a ghost. What happened?" Reluctantly, he recounted the bizarre events of the night, the whispers, footsteps, and unexplainable occurrences that had terrorized him. Mrs. Patterson listened attentively, her expression transitioning from concern to realization. With a knowing smile, she began to unravel the mystery. "Mr. Jenkins, this school has a dark history. Before it became an educational institution, this land was a cemetery. The school was built on top of the old burial ground, and some say the spirits linger, especially on stormy nights." The janitor's eyes widened with understanding. The strange events that haunted him had a logical explanation rooted in the school's past. The revelation brought a mix of relief and awe as he processed the information. As the morning sun bathed the school in warm light, the once haunted janitor realized that sometimes the ghosts of the past were just stories waiting to be unveiled. The school, now a place of learning, carried the echoes of its history, hidden beneath the surface, and revealed only to those who dared to face the shadows of the night.